This is what I do for a living. If they gave a degree in fooling around, I would have a PhD in noodling. I recently spent hours at this creek throwing stones in the water just so I could catch pictures of the shape of the splash. I have balanced thousands and thousands of rocks. I take endless pictures of the creatures that come to visit my house. I am a pathological doodler. The name of the conference, right? Tinker, Doodle, Obsess, wasn't it? This is what TED looks like to me. I love this quote from Andrew Bird. What the world needs now is reckless curiosity. Lest you think it's all fun and games, doodling has been shown to help with the retention of detail and information when you're listening to other people talk. These are my notes from a really important fundraising meeting last week. Badassitude, indeed. I can make perfectly round balls of sand. But mostly, I tinker with my camera, with 2,000 strawberry baskets, with handmade sailboats. 2 kids made this in a weekend, with rope, and sometimes with words. I recently had a book published. Hi, my name's Gever.
Hi, Gever Tulley.
Author of
50 Dangerous Things You Should Let Your Children Do.
Have you ever read the book 50 Dangerous Things? Have you read 50 Dangerous?
Nope. No.
Today we're doing topic number 1.
How to lick a 9-volt battery.
Have you ever licked a 9-volt battery before? Have you ever licked a 9-volt battery before?
No.
No?
No.
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 Have you ever licked a 9-volt battery before? Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you scared?
Kinda.
Do you want to try a fresh battery or an old battery? Are you scared?
Kinda.
You got it. Almost.
That's weird. That's really weird. That's weird.
And what does it taste like when you're done?
That's weird. That's really weird.
Okay, thanks. Next slide. Tinker, noodle, obsess. These are not just words for me. These are my natural modalities of creative productivity. Let me walk you through a recent example. 6 years ago, I started a summer program called Tinkering School. Perhaps you've heard of it. I started it because it seemed like kids weren't getting much of a chance to build things using real tools or real materials anymore. That's the official story, but it's not the whole truth. I also wanted to spend more time fooling around, and kids are better at it than most grown-ups. This was just a great laboratory for me to figure out how kids learn. And 5 years later, I had a program that was doing everything that it had set out to do. Kids were certainly building amazing things, but most of them weren't doing it anywhere except at Tinkering School. Was I giving them access to only exotic tools and materials, things that they could never get at home? I began to obsess over this issue, and I started playing with sticks and string, and a simple technique called lashing. And I started teaching kids how to do it. Using just this simple technique, they can build whole villages and multi-story condominiums, like this one, which comes with a homemade hammock. I even taught lashing to a bunch of folks who are starting tinkering schools around the United States. In an afternoon, they had lashed up their own version of a condominium. Now, no word on whether lashing will be included in any of their projects, but Tinkering School suffers from the same problem that great science museums suffer from: limited engagement. At the Exploratorium, they consider an exhibit to be a success if it gets just 30 seconds of attention from a child. 30 seconds. We had the kids for a week, and it wasn't enough to get them to carry it home. And I began to wonder what it would be like if tinkering school were a real school, and I began to obsess. But something was missing. And as I began to share my obsession with my friend Brian, we realized that his curiosity-based summer program was the peanut butter to my tinkering-based chocolate. His program is designed to encourage discovery through free play, exploration, and imagination. It was our Pinocchio moment. What if our schools could come together and be a real school? This became our shared obsession, and nothing else mattered. Our lives decayed around us. But how would it work? We didn't know anything about opening a real school, and we weren't even sure if it was completely legal. But once we had the idea, we couldn't stop tinkering with it. Until one day, way back in December of 2010, we figured out how it would work. Now here, let me draw it for you. We buy it in these huge rolls. Okay, so if the normal pedagogical unit of a school is a day divided into 7 periods of 45 minutes each with a little smattering of math and science and some lunch and some social history and maybe some English and, if you're lucky, maybe a little bit of art, then the pedagogical unit of my school, of Brightworks, we call the ARC. The ARC has a theme, and in this example, we'll use wind. The ARC is divided into 3 equal phases. Each phase is about 2 weeks long, 2 to 4 weeks long, depending. The first phase is called exploration. Now, in exploration, we create a curated landscape for the children to explore, a little bit like a TED event, like what Julianne has done for us today. And into this environment, we bring experts, people from in our community who have devoted their lives to an aspect of working with the topic, in this case, wind. So engineers who build windmills out at wind farms, sailors, nautical historians, and artists who work with wind, who integrate wind into their artwork, who use it for their sculpture, and maybe scientists, meteorologists who study how wind affects climate. And into this landscape, we take the children on a journey as they meet and spend time with these experts, immersing themselves in the way that these people think. And from that comes inspiration. The kids are grouped into little teams of 2 and 3. They're paired with an adult collaborator. We don't call them teachers. And together, they build a declaration, a clear statement of what it is they're going to do in the next phase of the ARC. The teams all make declarations, and thus we begin the second phase. We call this phase expression. Remember, these are 2 to 4 weeks long. In this period, the kids are doing iterative design-build phases as they work to express the idea that they declared they were going to explore. The main thing here is that they're cognizant of the deadline. This is just like in real life. You have a certain amount of time, certain amount of resources, and you have to be done. Maybe their expression takes the form of a series of experiments to prove a hypothesis about the role of wind. Maybe it's an opera, and they have to do a little writing, and they have to do a little set building, a little writing, but whatever. When they get to the end, they have to be ready for the third phase of this. We call it exposition. In the exposition phase, it's divided into 2 equal parts. In the first phase, the school opens up. Unlike most public traditional schools behind chain link fences, our school is designed to open into the streets of its community. And the children are there with their creations, with the work that they've done over the past 2 to 4 weeks, demonstrating, explaining how they got to this point, what kinds of things they tried, what the science was that they learned, what they learned about opera, what were the hard parts, what were the easy parts. In the second phase of the exposition, the school closes and turns inward. It's a moment of reflection, of introspection, where the kids are surrounded by the things that they made in the space, and they begin to work on their portfolios. It's a language arts moment where they learn how to talk about what they've done. And after the portfolios are done, we take a day or two at the very end to rest, because come the next Monday, we start on the next arc. So, an entirely new kind of school. And where does this obsession get you? This is a picture from the Brightworks opening ceremony last week, our new school in San Francisco. The response from the community has been overwhelming. The demand was far greater than we imagined. Applications exceeded available spaces in the school by an actual order of magnitude. For a school that didn't even exist yet, we didn't even have the building until a month ago. Brightworks is currently funded through tuition and philanthropy. How can it become a scalable, self-sufficient system? Given the opportunity, it turns out that children build things that are fascinating to other children. What if children's creations, like these cardboard letters that lock together in a combination of Lego and Scrabble, what if children's creations were taken seriously? What if they were taken to market? A for-profit subsidiary of the school will license the intellectual property developed at our school and sell it to manufacturing partners. The proceeds go back to benefit the school. School starts September 6th of this year. Never underestimate the power of tinkering, noodling, and obsessing. Thank you.